Happy birthday. Let's talk turkey, Sagittarius. This is for the sign of Sagittarius the Archer. Jupiter continues with a direct journey through the sign of Virgo the Virgin, affecting your 10th house, Sagittarius, focusing you on your class and economic status in an ever increasingly precise manner. The Sagittarius sign of the Archer will continue to find ways to enjoy Jupiter's direct transit through Virgo, but again, you must use your imagination for this to be a successful endeavor. Sagittarius, the sun will ingress into your sign to celebrate your birthday on the 22nd of November, and this brings compassion and success with the brightness of soul illuminating your first house of appearances and the self. Enjoy. The sun is not your ruling planet, but this wanderer has a close affinity for the benevolent, expansive energy of your ruler, Jupiter. Sagittarius, Mercury's ingress into your sign on the 20th of November will assist you in your efforts to figure out ways to outsmart the Jupiter and Virgo effect on your life. The direct aspect of this transit will make life easier and help your relationships at work and at home with improved communication. Mercury is not your ruling planet, but it rules Virgo, so this will be a big help that will last until the 9th of December 2015. Mercury in Sagittarius will affect the Archer's first house of self and appearances. Sagittarius, putting an extra emphasis on yourself and how you appear to others has paid off and will continue to do so with Saturn continuing direct through your sign, affecting your first house. Remember that Saturn is not your ruling planet, but this direct transit does affect you, being in that it is in your first house of self. Now, let's see how your ruling planet of Jupiter affects you this month, Sagittarius. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. Your fire guardian angel, Michael, speaks through to you from your Sagittarius zodiac angel, Agnakiel. This is an angelic horoscope transmission from your Sagittarius zodiac angel, Agnakiel, who resides over the Archer's mutable fire, and here are his messages for you in love, money, and health. First, the love transmission from Michael and Agnakiel. The new moon is on the 11th of November in the sign of Scorpio, the Scorpion. This occurrence affects your 12th house of spirituality, so you will listen to the part of you that wants to decrease the focus that you will have on the spiritual, so that the work you have done can take root inside you. So in other words, more of a concrete action than just a spiritual. First there comes the spiritual, and that imprints or puts a stamp on the physical. So now we go to the other part where now we are able to put into action that inspiration that the Spirit has given to you. Remember, all spiritual or magical work affects the self rather than others. Beware seeking revenge, for it ultimately harms only the self, which should be empowered, not weakened, with covetous behavior. The full moon is on the 25th of November in the sign of Gemini, the twins. This happening influences your 7th house of law and commitment, and therefore love will be submitted to the bright light of the long arm of the law. So it means romance or emotions in general, familiar relationship, long arm of the law. So don't think that you want to be more romantic than doing things that are lawful or not lawful. If you're going to do something, no matter how romantic you're trying to be, it needs to be lawful at this time. This is a caveat here, because it'll be exposed to the long arm of the law. Any kind of, romantic or emotional endeavor. Others will demand much from you, be it spouses, family, friends, or romantic interests. Keep everything above board, especially during this lunar cycle. If you want to make moon bike jokes, you should do that at this time. All right. Anachiel's money transmission with the help of the mighty Archangel Michael, your guardian protective angel that keeps the ego at bay. The confluence of cosmological occurrences during November will create a giddy happiness and feeling of high expectation in the financial arena, with the archer putting on the proverbial thinking cap to come up with ever new ways to increase financial opportunities. This will be especially lucky from the 20th of October through the 8th of December, 2015. Now for Anachiel's health transmission. Jupiter direct in Virgo keeps you focused on the details of your diet and those you care about affecting your third chakra. Saturn direct in your sign Sagittarius puts you into increasingly strict disciplines for all your health habits, and this is an especially good month to strengthen the skeletal system. Sagittarius claims good health this month and this is a right you've earned. So you should enjoy it. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius will affect your mental capacity in a stimulating manner from the 20th of October through the 8th of December 2015, while the Sun blesses you and your sign in your fourth chakra will be stimulated, as well as your thymus gland. That's the high heart. That's for good immune function. And your circulation will be affected and your spine strengthened. With Mars in Virgo, although this may seem to not affect you, it might make you hyper vigilant. So be mindful not to stress and thus avoid developing hypertension. Now we're going to get into, in a moment here, we're going to give you a meditation called the Smile Technique, the Smile Exercise, the Smile Meditation. It's taught in Taoist alchemy, and it's taught in ancient Rosicrucian Kabbalah, because alchemy, Taoist, and Kabbalah, they're all kind of combined. You know, everything goes back to the one, to the all. And so before we get you into a serenity now type state of mind, or also emotion, mind, and instinct all becoming one, before we do that and get you too relaxed, what we want to do is just give you this month's planetary Rosicrucian Kabbalistic planetary formula, and then we'll get you relaxed and serene, so that you can enjoy the holidays instead of rushing around with all the hype and getting all upset, which is not good for you. Now, November 3rd, 2015, Mercury direct in Scorpio sextile Jupiter direct in Virgo. What this gives you is the mind will be focused upon the more serious aspects of life and how to specifically deal with these various sobering issues. So that's the planetary formula. Now, for our disclaimer, because we're doing this spiritual alchemical technique, is very powerful. These techniques are very powerful. They're not anything to mess around with. But we're starting you at the beginning. So here's our disclaimer, is that high magic can, and that includes alchemy, be dangerous. Any form of high magic or alchemy is dangerous, any form of it. Intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. And we have already, traversed these regions for you. All right, here we go. Now just understand that there is a bundle of nerves in the mind, of course, in the brain, and the throat is a barrier. It's sort of da'ath, or the abyss, that we have to get through, and this is one way to do it, and we're going to get more into that next time. But the next, besides the mind, the next bundle of nerves is in the heart, and then in the abdomen, yeah? So it's in the second chakra, the fourth chakra, and of course up in the brain in the sixth and seventh chakras. So what we want to do is we want to, first you need to understand that there are Hebrew letters involved in the creating, the mother letters in the creating of your Merkabah field. We have in the brain Shin, which is fire. Then we have Aleph, which is air in the chest and in the heart. And in the belly, we have the lower abdomen, we have Mem. These are the three mother letters in the Kabbalistic, Rosicrucian, Kabbalistic alchemy, and Taoist alchemical spiritual technique. All right? We have fire in the mind, air in the chest, and then water, Mem, in the lower abdomen. And next time we'll give you an alchemical technique to bring the fire down below the water and heat the cauldron and create steam to heal you. Okay? But for now, we're going to start with something simple but very powerful. We're going to have the Maitreya Buddha smile. And we're going to create that smile, that serenity smile in the first cauldron, which is here in the second chakra, the first cauldron. And just create a smile. And then in the heart cauldron, create a smile. And then in the mind, create a smile. And strike the pose of the Maitreya Buddha, serenity, where you are in between the sound and the silence. And then you'll hear the Tibetan bells ringing, and there's often the bowls singing. You'll hear that if you're there, and you are. Okay? Then have all of the cells of your body smile in unison. All right. Now this is a very calming technique, and this is, if you want to know what nirvana is, that's it. Right there. It's what it's like to be in nirvana. Okay, and just because a word is from a different culture, that doesn't mean that it's evil. It's just a different language. That's all. They're just different languages for the same states of consciousness to be reached. Everybody's genetics have to be trained differently, but there are times when, because there's a blending of genetics physically and spiritually, of course, there is also a blending of genetics which affects the soul. And that's indeed how the soul is born. All right. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel, and join us again next month.